This is the Power of Osmosis podcast, powered by the Vidwheel Creator Network. Hi, everyone. This is the Power of Osmosis video podcast, powered by Vidwheel Creator Network. I am John Osberg, and I am extremely excited to be joined by Pierre, Aubertin, and Paul Tyno of NOCO Energy. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Hey, John, thanks for having us. Great to be here.
Glad to have you here too. And, I know we were doing some great prep before this. And I, as the energy man, a lot of people like to say that I've been energized and energetic about making this happen. And that fateful day has arrived. So I'm looking forward to all the energy related things that we're going to unpack. And I'll do my best to not over energize it, so it's not too much. But again, I appreciate you both being here today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Paul, let's start with you. Paul, talk to the audience about who you are, how you've gotten here, and just some more about you.
Great. No, thanks, John. No, I've been fortunate to be in the energy space for north of 20 years, a lot of it of late here in the Western New York area. So while I did travel out of town in the past to work business, it's been nice the last few years to be able to focus here in the state, in the region, and in Western New York in general. I focus primarily on the demand side of energy and within the renewable space. I've been with 4 startups in the energy space. I'm less of a corporate person and more of a renegade, I'll say, with respect to energy and startups. There's a lot of emerging technology. It's an exciting place to be. Both the sector and both the space being New York. So it's a really, really good time. And it's a good time for startups and emerging companies as well.
Awesome. Thanks, Paul. And how about you, Pierre? Your story up to this point.
For mine, I have been in the energy sector much less time than Paul. I've been just over 6 years now, all with NOCO. However, I've been in the business of providing solutions to people's problems for well over 20 years, be it marketing solutions, logistical solutions, or again, now energy management, energy procurement, energy efficiency. My journey to NOCO came about, again, I said about 6 years ago, primarily focused on the natural gas and electric division. But now as NOCO has put a plan together to kind of de-silo the company and bring all of our divisions together as one NOCO product. I find that my time is spent a lot talking about some of our other services, products and services, which I'm happy to say gets me on a lot of joint meetings with Paul, because he's a wealth of information. He tells a very good story that engages people and makes it easy for me to do what I have to do.
That's right. Zigging and zagging. I love that. And thanks for that summary too of your path to NOCO. And this is super exciting. I'm glad it's here. And thank you again for painting those quick narratives. So, I'm curious, narratives on that note are important, right? So you've told your own personal narratives at a high level, of course. Why don't we talk more about the narrative of NOCO, right? And how you've gone from, and I remember, Pierre, you and I, in your office not long ago, seeing that pretty cool prop on your desk there. And so with that said, what prop I'm referring to is some coal. Yeah. So NOCO, I didn't even know this when Pierre, we talked. That's pretty nifty. I remember, we talked about it. It's like, how cool to see this evolution. I think one of you said evolution, maybe it was Paul, sorry. And so the evolution of the company from coal to now renewable and sustainable. So whoever wants to take a crack at that, I'd love to hear more about how the company's evolved to where it is today. What, 90 some odd years now? How many years, NOCO?
It'll be 88 years this year. So 1933 is when it started with I believe it was a Model A pickup truck delivering coal to homes throughout Western New York.
That is too cool. I can already envision, one more tangent. I can already envision the title to this, right? Like from coal to, whatever, sustainable, I'll figure it out, but I can already see it coming. So back to that question then. So the evolution of it, Love to hear more about how we've gotten into today.
Well, and I think, we sold coal, John, in 1933 because that's what customers wanted, and that was the market. And that changed through the years. And part of it being an entrepreneurial company, trying to look forward, what's coming, what's the trend. And that moved us eventually to oil and moved us eventually to diesel and into natural gas and propane. And everybody sits back and says, well, fossil fuels, and you're absolutely right. But that was the technology at the time as we went through those generational shifts. Now the opportunity, now what the market is demanding, and now what we're working on providing is connections to renewable energy, to clean technology, to clean energy, and helping build that model, maybe in a way defining the standard, but helping at least to build a model for energy of the future. And what's that look like?
Love that. Pierre, from you?
Yeah, that's a great point. The what Paul mentioned about the future. So, we've transitioned from coal, away from coal. That is no longer a primary source of energy, of course, in this area or throughout much of the country.
Sure.
Ideas have changed. There are other means right now. So as far as what we're doing, we do have a sustainability initiative here, and we are into renewables. And a lot of things that we're doing, it is about tomorrow and beyond. But we don't want to forget the customers that we have and how can we help them today. So, there's a portion of the company that is about today. How do we supply our customers today without a homeowner having to go in and, bump out their natural gas furnace in their house and put in the next best new piece of equipment. And then there's the other portion of the company, which Paul really drives. That's how do we continue to supply them well into the future as new technology emerges, new forms of energy, current forms of energy, but that are improved. And how do we service both of those customers and establish NOCO as a fourth generation company and pass it on to the next generation of Newmans to run the company and hopefully be here so that I can retire here. And I'm not going to knock Jim Newman because I know he's going to listen to this later, but he is older than I am. I would assume he'll retire before me. So I do need that fourth generation on board so I can, punch my ticket, so to speak, in another 20 years.
I love that humor, and there's much to unpack here with the things that both of you have contributed to the conversation. And that said, retroactively, here 7-8 minutes into the podcast, what's rooted here, right, are things like stability, community, service, the agility of an 88-year-old company to adapt with the times. That to me is exciting. And I know it is to you, and it creates energy, right? And interest from the community, and the community is such a big part, right? And in that transition, right, it's like we're talking, again, as the backdrop to this, it's like you're only as strong, NOCO, that is, as strong as the community of which you do business in. I firmly believe that. And so that said, we've obviously gone through some tough times. We're still in them, even though I think a lot of folks may have thought that this is a reset year, 2021, like, all right, January 1st, 21, like we're rocking, we're good, but we're still seeing struggle. So love to hear some commentary from the two of you as leaders, as managers, on the stability of which NOCO has brought to the table because of that emphasis on community, because of that emphasis on service. Love to hear more on that. I'm excited to hear.
Well, John, I think it's important. So yes, we've been here for a long period of time, and we've employed locally, and the numbers are fairly big. And while there's been a little float up and down as we were in the retail operations, now not in the retail operations, but still we've been here for a long period of time. So we're invested in the community. I think people are challenged continually by entities that sort of parachute in because there's some sort of problem or crisis or challenge or piece of legislation or something that creates what they view as an opportunity. And they're in and then they're out, and they don't have a stake in the community. And I think that's I think that's significant in a bad way. And I think when you look local, you shop local, we have a bench here of expertise and team strength. It's just crazy because of all these evolutions that they've been through and how the company has grown and expanded throughout their time here in the region. So you're right. And we could go through all the nonprofit boards that members of our team are part of, and the way we give back to the community, and the way we support enterprises like Launch New York and the Emerging Clean Tech Opportunities Incubator, and working with startups and things of that nature. And you know what? That is very, very important, because these are the people that we see at dinner on the weekends when restaurants are open. These are the people that our kids go to school with, right? It's you and I, and it's Pierre, and we see each other on a regular basis. That's what it's all about, right?
If I may, and I know, Pierre, I want to hear from you. A quick shout out to our mutual friend there, Pat Whalen. You're talking a lot about, Launch New York startups, incubators, and in a sense, I've come to know Pat as a friend and mentor. A huge source of inspiration, but a pioneer, right? So, he's pioneering as an entrepreneur and the things he's done. And so, again, that theme of NOCO's not in it for the quick in and out, get that profit and then jet. Like you said, I love that parachute analogy. NOCO's in it for the long term, and it's very evident. Again, while you can go through all the accolades, awards, involvements, what's most important is that exact theme to highlight. So kudos to that, and kudos to NOCO for what they're doing for the environment, the world, and obviously for our communities and our state of what you do a lot of business in. Pierre, more from you though on that stability and what you're seeing at the company and how you've been able to keep this ship steering well.
Sure. So from the top down, I think being a family-owned company, being that it's been in the same family for generations, they are, tied closely to the community. Now, we sell products, we sell natural gas, electricity, HVAC, they sell and install furnaces and so on. But at the heart of it, we are a service company. We provide a service to the community. We rely on the community, and therefore we understand that we have to, support the community in other ways. Paul mentioned some not-for-profits that we partner with and work with, various other endeavors that we have. We just understand that NOCO is deeply tied to Western New York. We are trying to make that same initiative as we go out further east into areas that maybe aren't as familiar with NOCO. But we do understand that, and that gets down to the employees as well. Jim Newman, since day one, when back in March of last year, we're almost going on a year now, where he made a commitment to the company and the employees that he would do everything in his power to make sure that the company could get through pandemic, that we would do everything we could to maintain the staff that we have. And here we are a year later. We have grown our staff by 24%. Some, of course, with some acquisitions, Shanner Electric, glycol blender out of Syracuse. But we've also, promoted from within, hired some additional staff, and really done a lot because we want to be here for the community well beyond when hopefully this pandemic, when it's talked about in the past tense and it's no longer, right in our face, that we're going to be here for the community and be able to support them. Because, as an energy supply company, there is a need. People need gas, electricity for their homes. They need their HVAC service. They need diesel fuel and so on. And, we want to help them again, as we mentioned before, into the future, as we get into renewables and start putting that in their homes. We want to be there for them.
I love that. And really at the root of this, gentleman is our relationships, right? And I know that I've had conversations with some of your people, with the two of you, in a marketplace that is getting crowded per se, because energy is hot, literally, figuratively, whatever. It's sometimes hard to convey that on calls or opportunities, contact with individuals that could use the service that you're providing, the services that you're providing. So glad that we're doing this, because it really goes to show here on a virtual video based forum, really coloring that picture of that community and stability and growth and support and service, but also again underscored by relationships, because relationships are what make the world go round. Without them, then I think we're nothing. So some more kudos there. Paul, do you have anything else you wanted to add to that?
Well, I think just sustainability in relationships and looking at things as decade-long relationships, long-term engagements, that's what generates company sustainability, right?
Mm-hmm.
So again, you don't want to take that quick approach. There's no value in that. There's nothing that lasts long in that sort of business approach. And I would say, dare I say, we make decisions here based on what's the future, what else can we do with this relationship? What else can we provide? How long are we going to be partners? And that's really the way it's not a mantra. It's just the way we go to work every day.
It's good. It's culture. It's culture. It's ingrained. Good segue in that, we're coloring, again, with the community themes and things of that nature. Some of the acquisitions that, NOCO has done an awesome job, completing, I should say, have also been brought up. So that said, though, projects that are happening right now, one which that comes to mind for me, because I've been considering it through through one of your employees who's talked to me about it, is the community solar program. So maybe we start with what it is and why you're doing it.
Sure. So community solar. So it can seem overly complicated. It really is a fairly simple process. So New York State has an initiative for the state to go green, to have sustainable renewable energy as much as possible. One of the current pieces of technology that's been available for a long time, is solar energy. The issue that come about with solar energy is, number one, so if you want infrastructure solar, so the actual panels on your home or business, there's a capital cost to that. There is the concern that you're going to put panels on a home that has an older roof, and where's the balance there? There's the fact that over time the panels degrade and aren't as efficient as they are on day one. So, and then for some, just that capital cost right from the get-go is the deal breaker. So how does New York State get fossil fuel consumption down, get people to tap into solar energy, and make it available to anyone, including those that may not own their own home, renters, for example? And community solar is that vehicle. So developers throughout the state can get a solar farm up and running through incentives to the state. They are given incentives to build those solar farms. That solar energy is put into the grid and put out to the community. In order to make it economically feasible and get these projects off the ground, there have to be subscribers so that there's a one-to-one association between energy going to the grid and an end user. That's where community solar comes in. So the state allows anyone that wants to subscribe to a community solar project to earn credits back on their utility bill and help offset some of the costs of their traditional electric supply. So simply pairing up with a company like NOCO, you will get community solar credits on your bill that'll help you lower your utility costs. And by doing so, you are enabling the solar farms to get built and to go online and generate energy for New York State. So in a nutshell, that's what it is. And where NOCO fits in is we have partnered. Right now, we have about 15 projects throughout New York State. We have the ability to bring on subscribers to the NOCO Community Solar program. They get the credits on their bill. They save money there. They participate in the program. In addition to, we can provide them, traditional natural gas and electricity supply to their home and save them money there as well.
Very, very well summarized and said there. Thank you, Pierre. Paul, from you.
Just the only thing I would add is this: there's, I'll say, a myth or a preconception that they need to have that physical panel on their roof to be contributing or to be part of the solution. And in reality, even though this may be transactional, you are in effect contributing as much, maybe if not more, than having those panels on your roof, because you're enabling these systems to get built. When these systems get built at grid scale, they're displacing less clean, possibly fossil fuel generation. So while that electron is maybe not going to you directly, you're enabling the system to take on more in renewable and displace traditional generation. You're as much a stakeholder as someone with a physical asset.
Another incredibly succinct summary and powerful, right? Powerful to illustrate the concept behind this and help our listeners and our millions of listeners and watchers on this, really grasp that concept. Because I had an idea, right? Kind of community and solar program. But when, I first talked with one of your employees and got the insights, it seemed really neat, really simplistic. And I also, one more thing I'll add to that is, I watched a family friend, a neighbor, go through getting panels put on his house. And it was not, like you said earlier too, Pierre, not an easy undertaking, a lot of noise, a lot of stuff, eyesore. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. That's still great because you're contributing, but it's not at the scale at which, and so here it's scale and simplicity. But yeah, and I myself, I'm even wondering why I have yet to do it, for my home here in the Buffalo area. But,
there's usually two reasons. One, not necessarily understanding what the program is, and two, not knowing, okay, then what's my next step? How do I get on board? We can help you with that. If you have your electric account number handy, I can show you and your audience how quick and easy it is to subscribe.
I think I might just have that actually, Pierre. In what any good podcast is comprised of is some good preparation. So it was cool that we devised that plan for our listeners and watchers that yesterday in our prep call, we had that idea. So I went and got it, which took 2 seconds. You got your bill or you go on in your email and boom, there's your account number. So I happen to have it. Shall I quickly enroll?
Absolutely. So anyone that would be interested would simply go to NOCO.com /solar.
So I'm going to just copy this code, or not code, my account number, sorry. And I'm going to need maybe one more reminder there, NOCO.com /solar.
Yep, /solar.
Let's go. Okay, I am there.
So you'll have a landing page that'll tell you a little bit about community solar. So if someone still has questions at this point, they can get their questions answered. They're also more than welcome to call in and call the number provided if they want to do that rather than go through the portal. But the portal is real easy. You would simply click on join today or scroll down to the form.
So I'm not a current customer, so I just click no. So here we go. Get started. Let's do it.
So if you click no, it's going to ask you if you'd like to enroll first in NOCO Electric. Now that's for traditional electricity supply. And what I can tell you is, for years now, we've been supplying the community with their electricity. We've always tried to do our best to save community as much money as possible. But now there is a guarantee behind residential electricity supply where you are guaranteed to save money over the utility. So if you want to, you're welcome. Click yes on there. It is not necessary to get the benefits of community solar, but I think you get hands in both pots. You can save on traditional electricity supply and do your community solar.
Well, who doesn't like a guarantee and who doesn't like savings? Let's do it. So I'm clicking the first box that has a little more text there, right? Yes. And then, okay, cool. So I got that. Then I'll throw my email in there, throw my name in there, makes it real easy.
Yep.
Email, that's all.
Name, phone number.
Yep. Doing that now. This is cool.
Address is optional. And the reason why it's optional, so the billing, anything that you're getting from NOCO is going to continue going through your utility. So National Grid or NYSEG. We don't require financial information. We're not going to mail you a bill. There's nothing on that, and it'll continue to go through the utility. As a matter of fact, the utility still maintains the power lines, handles any outages and anything like that. So address is optional. How did you hear about us? That just helps us as we're reaching out to the community and finding better ways to engage with them and how did they hear about us. that just helps us to understand what's working and what's not working.
Well, unfortunately, though, I love that, but I don't see podcast recording conversation on the list.
Well,
But
based on how much fan mail Paul and I get after this podcast, we'll add that in.
There you go. And I can say one of my great friends, Tyler Riesinger, got me in this, and obviously we've had our connections to it as well. Here we are live, and then so okay, I agree. I agree to do this. I agree that. Okay, make sure. Oh, wrong button. Here we go. On there. I'm nervous. No, I'm almost there. Click. Okay. Enroll today.
Yeah, the last thing at the very bottom, you enter your utility account number so that the credits can properly be assigned to your utility bill. And of course, you're getting electricity from us as well. We want to make sure that that gets taken care of. You agree to the terms and conditions at the end, which are for your protection, so you know what we're obligated to do, and that's it.
And there we
Locked
are.
in. Check mark. Who doesn't like a check mark? Feels good. Well, very good. Thank you. I'm excited.
Well, welcome to the family.
All right, locked in, and then who knows? Well, and I like to think I've been a little part of the family in some way, shape, or form. But now it's like, here we go, we're official. Let's do this thing. So I'm excited. And seriously, like this is such a neat concept, and I'm a firm believer in first of all, we get one Earth, right, and let's take care of it. So this is a good step forward to that. All right.
You mentioned earlier when we were talking about community, real quick, if I could say,
please
dive into this community solar. Something that we want to do, and that we are doing now, is so there's a limited offering of community solar out there. There's only so much allocation with the projects that are available, and it is a really good thing for people to take on. They can feel that they're helping the environment and save money on their bills. How do we get some of that ability to describe out to a community? And we're partnering with various businesses in the area and getting some of that community solar out, number one, to their business, to their employees, but to the surrounding community, so that the surrounding community can say, as a benefit for, this business that's here in my backyard, I'm going to get access to community solar with a trusted local partner being NOCO. So we're doing that right now. Some of it is more community based. Some of it will be, getting it. So if you're doing business with a company, by default, you'll have access to community solar. But we're really looking to do a lot of community based stuff. So doing stuff in the city, so just underserved communities, and helping them lower their utility costs. So that'll be something we'll be rolling out shortly.
Kudos there, and I'm glad you wanted to throw that back in there, because it just prompted me to think on one more mention on this topic quickly. And I could see it being in one of the captions or whatever, but what are some of the, what better way to quantify though the impact you have in the community? I remember, Pierre, when we talked some years ago now, I think it's been, you had told me if you have those at top of mind or readily available, or just generally speaking, there were some numbers that were associated with the fact that if you go with NOCO, you then do this for the community in terms of investment dollars, percentages. I'd love to hear that. That'd be a great mention as to kind of what we covered in this podcast.
Yeah, it's not a specific NOCO stat, but I know, actually, I just heard the new number recently this week. But when you do shop locally and getting your energy supply from NOCO counts, that on average you keep 78 cents on the dollar here locally
in the community.
Well, hello, 78%. That's significant. So, Paul, would you like to add anything, or shall we? I've got another good question that's come to mind here that I'd like to hit on.
Yeah, if you want to, go ahead with other questions. That's great.
Sweet. So we'll have you take this to start then. So, all of this is highlighted again. We've covered the themes multiple times now, but one thing that's evident, and I think it's intrinsic as much as we've talked about it too, is growth. Acquisitions. You mentioned Shanner. I know there's been some acquisitions out the eastern side of New York State. So why don't we bookend everything here, this exciting conversation, this energizing conversation, with highlighting the cool growth. Again, it's something I've used in other podcasts, and then I'll leave the floor to you. It's NOCO's it's not surviving, it's thriving, and there's something to be said about that. And so I'd love to hear more from the two of you on the things that are going on for NOCO.
Well, I think as we turned and move towards advancing clean energy and clean technology, We still have problems to solve. We recently acquired a glycol recycling business in Syracuse. So solvent recycling, think of it in those terms. So yes, we can sell you new, but also we can take the old and recycle it and put it to good use. We also acquired towards the end of the year Buffalo River Compost. So now we're working towards closing that circle from food waste to composting, keeping that sort of product out of landfills. Certainly, there was a recent DEC regulation. It's under consideration. It's not law yet with respect to food waste. But I think what you're going to see in the future is more and more of that is not going to be able to be just dumped in a garbage can, whether that's ultimately starting likely with the commercial sector, but eventually that'll work its way to the residential sector as well. So that's actually, in a strange way, and I'm not a scientist, but in a strange way, very, very good material. We have another company called River Road Research.
So glad you hit on this. It came to mind. I'm sorry to overspeak you. I wanted to see if we could talk about that. I know it's public, but the particular insect, right? That I'm speaking cryptically, but we can talk about that on air, right?
I'm going to give you a very, very short version, right? And I think Pierre's probably laughing because he's glad I got this one. But we're basically taking certain food waste and we're able to feed them to black soldier flies that ultimately create a food protein. And that food protein can be for livestock, but that food protein can also be aquatic. So we have a challenge coming up with respect to the number of people on this planet versus the physical space we have to actually grow food and then distribute food. So efforts like this are helping to kind of complete the recycling circle, but also then, and I'm not going to say feed the hunger problem or the food problem, but certainly contribute to that concern as well as populations exploding. So it's great stuff. It's not, the funny thing about a lot of this is it's considered a breakthrough today. Yesterday it was probably viewed as a crazy idea, but I think everything was, right, that ultimately became that breakthrough, and it's exciting to be part of that.
And that right there, first of all, well done there, because I saw Pierre laughing, and not shame on me, but hey, I wish I would have had that in the plans, but it came out because we're having good conversation. But in terms of Black Soldier Flies project and all that, but there's shades of entrepreneurship, right? With that crazy idea. Steve Jobs comes to mind with Apple, and so again, that just is another colored theme there, theme color, I should say, that is within this conversation. Thank you for that, Paul and Pierre. Anything you'd like to add to all the cool growth initiatives that are happening?
No,
I think the other thing that
I should have finished with you, Paul.
Okay, I'm sorry. The other thing I would touch on is this. People feel pressure or they're motivated to look at energy efficiency, to look at sustainability. And a lot of times you can get them in a conference room and you can whiteboard it and everybody's excited, and then everybody leaves and nobody knows what to do tomorrow. Nobody knows what to do tactically, who to call, how to act, what to do. And that's NOCO's role. That's where our bench strength, our expertise, the diversity of that expertise comes into play. You tend to get, being vendor and technology agnostic, we're looking at the problem and the potential solutions. We're not selling a device. We're not selling a piece of software or a piece of hardware, right? People can and actually have taken sustainable activity. It can be as simple or as complex as you want it to be. Participating in community solar is a sustainable activity. Managing how you consume energy is a sustainable activity. So it's not as imposing, I think, as a lot of people feel. It's not tied only to waste stream management. Again, properly managing energy is sustainable activity. So there's a place for everybody, regardless of where they sit, to participate in this clean energy future.
Very well said, and thanks for adding that in there. That's important. It's a great takeaway. Something for in the back of me there. So it's a mindset thing, right? And in terms of categorically speaking, so a little bit of a stigma perhaps, and let's break that stigma. So kudos there, Pierre. Anything from you?
Yeah, no, Paul did a really good job wrapping that up because I think the same thing. So even working here, and as the sustainable initiative has evolved here at NOCO, I think back to years ago, people, you're right, talk sustainability, they don't really know what it is. Maybe an organization gets as far as trying to go paperless, and that's as far as they can get. And they know that they want to be sustainable and they want to be green. They just don't know how to get there. And there aren't that many small to medium businesses that have a sustainability officer on the payroll. And that's what NOCO can be to them. So we can help from procurement to energy curtailment to efficiency to consultation and everything in between. And we can be that resource for them. Somebody this morning said the phrase that's become real popular lately is, we don't know what we don't know. You're right. Well, we're there to fill in what you don't know and help you get there is really what we do.
Very, very good there. And thank you too for adding that. That's good again as a takeaway for the audience. You're seeing more of those types of offerings come from a variety of businesses, which is, for that, especially for that small, those SMBs, the small to mid-sized businesses, they don't have everybody on payroll that can take care of a lot of the things that need to be taken care of. And so, even like a tech company, right? So, the tech company has a team of 30 developers, software developers that can then plug in and work with that $3-4 million a year business and give them the, it's not buying power, but it's the same concept as buying power. You have this team there on the ready, extension of yours. Same here, which is really a great parallel. So this is fantastic. This is really good. I'm excited and I would love to just kind of conclude here with how do we engage with the two of you with NOCO Energy. The floor is yours as we conclude.
Well, we're out and about. Certainly, we're both on the website. You can reach us there. We're both working with local trade and industry organizations. So participating in virtual and a few live events, and hopefully more of those events coming up here as we break out of this a little bit. Happy to have a conversation with anybody and work with them and trying to advance, maybe first understand, quantify, and then advance their energy and sustainability objectives.
Love that. Pierre?
Yeah, same here. I mean, besides the usual, feel free on LinkedIn to reach out if you have questions there, you want to connect. Just really have a conversation, see if NOCO can be a fit or just maybe plug some holes, as I mentioned. If it is, to reach out to us as a potential customer to help with their home or business, they're welcome to call. I have a team out here that does a really phenomenal job of simplifying what we do and helping someone out. If they were to call in, they can use the 888 number, 888-710-6626. They can go to the website, noco.com, and see really the array of our products and services. And I'll end on this, on why I was laughing earlier on the black soldier flies thing, because, I'm in sales, up until COVID, we go to networking events and everyone does their elevator speech to try to get somebody interested in what they do and tell them about their business. And I'm sorry, but there's nothing exciting about natural gas and electricity. There really isn't. So recently, we would tell people, we raise bugs. That was the opening line. And right away, everyone's eyes pop open. They're like, what are you talking about? And of course, you talk about the full circle food waste, and it gets into a whole other discussion. So now I laugh, any one of my wife's friends or that I'm introduced to, when they ask what I do, I raise bugs.
That's so good. That is so good. And I didn't even know that until just this moment. And it's aligned well with OZmosis and what it's all about. It's that authenticity, be different, unique, embrace it, be passionate. How are we going to stand out? And I know we said just before this, let's inject some good humor. I mean, not that we need to say that, it's just a reminder. and humor, the candor, these interesting things, these little kind of not role plays, but yeah, obviously with the number there, the community solar thing. I mean, this is what it's all about, and this is what's going to bring in interest and a lot of kudos and commend, you both of you and team for even just that remark there on we raise bugs, because it's like what and then boom, you're in. It's disarming. So
I don't take any home with me.
Yeah, you might have to start studying those things and start seeing what they're doing there, right? So you can really be an SME, a subject matter expert. But really quickly for the audience, as always, as any podcasts are worth their salt, I'll have all this information within, the audio only platforms and the video platforms that this will go out on. And so you'll be able to get that 888 number. And then like Pierre had said, I'm glad he went there, is, LinkedIn's a great place to find both Pierre and Paul. Obviously, if you watch any of my shows, I'm a LinkedIn legend. I like to think I am, and huge resource there. So, gentlemen, this has been a lot of fun coloring. Again, these themes of community, of innovation, of stability, growth, excitement, passion, differentiation, service, and the list goes on. So this is exactly what OZmosis, the Power of OZmosis podcast, is looking for. And so, really grateful for both of your time, for your energy. Both of you from NOCO Energy. So thanks again. And if you like any final remarks, feel free.
Well, thank you.
Other than gratitude, I guess, right?
Yes, gratitude. Thank you for helping us getting the word out there about what NOCO does and giving us a chance to thank the community as well. As we mentioned, they're a big part of who we are today. So this is our opportunity to say thank you.
Perfect. Yeah. Cool. Well, on that topic, then, or on that closing, gratitude out to the vidwheel Creator Network, my supporters there, all this podcasting, the way this looks, the editing, the production, and then some is all thanks to vidwheel Creator Network. So thanks out there, a lot of gratitude. And again, thanks to both of you. This will conclude it. And I look forward to seeing more great things from both of you and from NOCO. So thanks again.
Thanks, John.
All right, guys.